hearing. And at this time, I'd like to do item B, that the Harris Board of Education review and approve the August 19th, 2025, 10 a.m. special session meeting as presented. Do I have a motion? Mr. Green, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? So moved. I'm presiding over this meeting because Mr. Ray unfortunately was not able to attend at this time. So we're here because of the public hearing millage rate that the Harris County Board of Education lists to any comments or concerns from the public regarding the tax millage rate and the Harris County Board of Education's, intention to adopt the property tax millage rate at 18.5 mils and all. As Vice Chair of the Harris County Board of Education, I would like to formally call this public meeting to order. On behalf of the entire board, thank you all for joining us this morning as we begin this series of public hearings regarding the proposed millage rate for the Harris County Board of Education. This morning's hearing is the third of several scheduled opportunities for public comment on a matter of significant importance to both our school system and our community. The tentative adoption of a new millage rate. The board has tentatively adopted a millage rate of 18.5 mils, which reflects a 15.44% increase in property taxes over the rollback rate of 16.025 mils. This proposed increase is a result of careful consideration and reflections of the needs of our growing district, including the maintenance, enhancement of educational services, staffing, operational support of our schools. To help our community understand this impact, for a home with a fair market value of $400,000, this increase would result in estimated additional tax of approximately $320. For non-homesteaded property valued at $250,000, the proposed increase equates to roughly $200. We recognize that any proposed tax increase requires full transparency and open dialogue. This is why we have been holding these three public hearings on this matter as required by law and in keeping with our commitment to community engagement. Our past meetings have been on August the 7th at 6 p.m. We held two meetings on August the 14th at 10 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. and today at this morning's meeting. All hearings have taken place here in the auditorium of the central office at 132 Barnes Mill Road here in Hamilton, Georgia. And this is a public forum, and we welcome all concerned citizens who wish to speak or seek clarification. Your feedback is vital to this process and to decisions that we make as stewards of the public education here in Harris County. With that, now we'll proceed with the hearing, and each speaker will be allotted time in accordance with our standard public participation procedures. And there again, thank you all for being here and your attention and your support of Harris County school systems. So at this time, I have Ms. Avery. How are you doing this morning, Pam?
I just want to begin by saying thanks for the opportunity to be here and for the job that you do. I covered school board for 7 years for the newspaper and sat on the front row for every single meeting and work session. I know how hard you work. I know what a thankless job it is too. So I appreciate it. I realize we're in the twilight of this discussion to raise the millage rate, but since I don't take the local newspaper, I was not aware that this decision was imminent, or I would have been here sooner. But however late in this game, it is my responsibility as a property owner, a taxpayer, and a citizen of Harris County to beseech you to consider a very, very important fact that is looming over every current decision made by small business owners, large corporations, and all levels of government. We are living in an enormously uncertain economic times. The fiscal future is at best murky. And that is not just my opinion. Here are just a few facts to substantiate that. This is according to the Wall Street Journal and the Kaiser Family Foundation. Georgia is on track to have the biggest price increase in the nation for healthcare costs since the Affordable Care Act exchange will expire in December. It is estimated that there will be a 42% increase in United Healthcare and at least a 21% increase with other plans. The ACA is not expiring, but the benefits, the enhanced subsidies will be. There will be millions of people losing their health care, and that includes children who are going to our schools. Number two, power bill increases. The Public Service Commission did vote to have a freeze on the base, but that means nothing in the face of disaster or fuel increases, the cost of actually providing it. And I saw one estimate, I'm not sure if it was Atlanta Journal or what, but there was one estimate of it, over a 20% increase in power bills, probably. I don't have to tell you about the price increases at the grocery store or Home Depot. I like to have a steak about once a month. The last time I priced it, it was $25. One steak. I can do without a steak. And of course, we never know what to expect from the gas and oil industries. We have no control over that. It's good right now, but you know, that could change. But perhaps the most telling fact, on July 19th, Governor Kemp directed state agencies to prepare for tight budgets as Georgia braces for the impact of federal spending cuts. The governor's budget office directed agencies to prepare amended fiscal year 26 and 27 budgets with no spending increases. He says, you're not getting any more money. This is the governor to the entire state. That to me is one of the most telling ones right there, is the governor saying that, even though we have a surplus now. In closing, I implore you to accept the fact that now is not the time to accelerate. Now is the time to pump the brakes. It is time to figure out what our needs are, fulfill them, and put the wants way back. That's what we as individuals are having to do. I see I'm about out of time here. I fear if you add this increase with everything else that we as consumers, taxpayers are going to be faced with, people will lose their homes. They won't be able to hold on to their land. And one thing that makes Harris County so beautiful is the land. If we lose that, we lose the county that people want to come here to live in. One more thing. Lack of faith in government is at a historical low right now. That's local government, state government, federal. You know why? Because government asks taxpayers to do something that government refuses to do, and that's tighten the belt. I know it's tough. It's tough on all of us, but I really implore you to look hard at those numbers and determine what you need, not what some folks may want. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Saber. Also, too, let me state that we do allot 5 minutes for each individual. We will have time for everyone to speak, but if anyone has any additional comments later on, we will give you additional time if you want to come back and speak. Hey, Mr. Adams, how are you this morning?
Hope y'all are. I was unaware, well, I was out of town last week for the other two meetings. I didn't know I could speak to this meeting, but I used to be working for a major utility in the state in charge of a $600 million budget. We were governed by the PSC. We had to go every 3 years to them to get our budgets validated, our spending. One of the things that I always looked at when we did our budgets is comparison to previous years. I don't know if y'all do that. Asked for a budget and a nice lady gave me one. But what line items are actually going down? Are there any line items that are actually going down? I challenge you to look at that because we looked at that when we were working for the utility. And I had to justify everything on the list. You don't have to justify it to anybody but yourselves. I appreciate what you do. I think we got a good school system here. But I just challenge you to look at each line item and say, is there anything we can do? Because if you're not looking at, if you're not doing a baseline budget, excuse me, every single year, you're not doing the citizens of this county, fair justice. But I appreciate what you do. I know how hard it is. I've served on boards before. I never liked it, but I know it takes a lot of time. I know you get a lot of criticism, but I'd like to say, like the nice young lady said there, I appreciate what you do. I really do.
Well, we appreciate you coming up here and your comments. Thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be here. All right, and our next speaker this time, Mr. Brian McKean.
John, I was surprised you made that comment about being able to come back up and speak again after the last time I was here. I do appreciate the opportunity to come up and speak. What I hope is that it's not just an opportunity to speak. I hope that you don't just listen, that you hear, not just me, but the rest of the people that are here to speak on this issue. And last time I came up and I presented a lot of facts and figures. I think I did a pretty good job of demonstrating mathematically you can't justify the 2 mil increase that you're asking for. The numbers do not support it. And on closer examination, you're asking by the line item in your budget for property taxes, you're asking for you're planning on $2.5 million more than the current millage rate will produce. But you're asking for $3.6 million in additional taxes. So for $1 million gap there. Please explain, how can you justify asking for an extra million above what your own budget is asking for? Last time I had a lot of notes in front of me with facts and figures. This time, a little different. As some of you may know, I'm working diligently right now to help improve the political environment, to get citizens to focus on a solution-based approach to politics here in Harris County. And if you want partners, if you want the citizens to be your partners, please be the partners of the citizens. It means you've got to hear and you've got to take affirmative steps to show that you are taking steps to adjust the budget. And we're not seeing them. It looks very much like you built in the two mil tax increase into your budget as you started the budget process. And that's not how we build our budgets. We look at what we're earning and then we build our budget around that. And then your justifications, they don't hold water. I mean, using past debt to justify a tax increase, that doesn't work. Using the potential loss of the equalization grant flies absolutely in the face of the intent of that law. It just doesn't work. And if we start looking at how you're spending money, you're spending money kind of the way my ex-wife spent my money. You're buying what you want and then budgeting for what you've got to have. That's backwards. You budget up front. What you want comes last. That's not how this appears. And as members of the Board of Education, I just want to remind you that you're not just there to help the school system. You represent the taxpayers. One under Georgia code, it says it shall be the duty of each Board of Education to represent the interest of the people. Of the people. That's your obligation. Another section in Georgia code says local boards of education shall be accountable for the fiscal management. You're accountable. And I said last board meeting, you're not a layer of protection, you're a layer of accountability. And I want to make something abundantly clear. It's not about the $350 extra tax money that it's going to cost me. Yeah, that's a piece of it. But the hours of research that I put in to coming up and speaking, somebody quipped the last time when I came up to speak for the third time at that same meeting, you must be getting paid as a lawyer by the word. Well, I'm not getting paid. I want to make it abundantly clear. It costs me more to be here this morning than if you don't pass this. If you turn down this, it won't save me as much as it costs me to take a half a day off work to be here. That doesn't count all of the research. So why am I here? Why am I? Because it's important for the citizens of Harris County. I want you to understand what it is you're really voting on. I know, you're being presented with a school budget and it looks like I'm voting on, does the school get everything they need? But that's just a piece of it. I promise you that if this tax increase doesn't go into place, every child in Harris County is still going to get a good education. There may not be as many bells and whistles. I mean, we need to think about these things before we spend $500,000 on a scoreboard or $1 million on a football field and track field. Those are wants. What is it you're really voting on? You're voting that in December, whether a senior citizen, when they get that tax bill, whether they pay that tax bill or whether they buy prescription drugs, whether they pay that tax bill or whether they get to fill their propane tank so that their home will be warm through the winter. That's what you're voting on. You're voting as to whether they can make their mortgage payment, whether they can afford the copay to go to the doctor, whether that single mom can get her kids to the doctor or get the drugs that they need to be healthy. That's what you're voting on.
Good morning. In spite of what common thought may be, I do appreciate what you do because I'm not willing to put myself up here doing what you're doing. So I do appreciate that. And you would think that we've coordinated our comments this morning. We haven't. I had not planned on speaking this morning. But I've thought about this quite a bit. And I've had conversations with Bridget in the past. And some people may think I don't like kids. I had two. One I liked more than the other. I loved them both. One I liked more. One was easier. One studied abroad 4 different times. One got a GED. Wonderful people. Wonderful people. Not every need needs to be met. Not every student's desire needs to be met. They don't. They've got their whole lives to figure out who they get to be. They're not going to decide it all in this next year. It's not going to happen like that. It's cumulative effect. It's not, kids are going to, what Brian just mentioned, they're going to get the foundations that they need. But this is not the time to be careless in any possible way. And I'm not suggesting that it's carelessness. I think that there's been a little bit of a tunnel focus because we, the people, have not been talking to you often enough about how strongly we feel about some things. The last time we were here, the thing that everyone hammered on was the $12 million indoor practice. And a comment was made, it's not just for football. The band used it, or there was indoor flag football for the girls and stuff. That comment really got under my skin. I don't care if another girl in Harris County, Georgia, ever plays indoor flag football ever again. If one elderly or at-risk person loses their home due to tax forfeiture, don't care. I don't care. This is not the mecca of indoor flag football for girls. But people, as Brian just mentioned, people are going to get those bills and money's going to be thin. Don't do it. Brian offered last week all sorts of opportunities to do cost shifting. I want you to do cost cutting. I would like to see a smaller budget. I would like to see a smaller budget. I would like to see cost cutting, not just cost shifting. Please, please, please don't be the reason that anyone has to make that choice between medicine and their home in the fall. Please don't be that. Please don't be one of the 7. It won't be one, but at least if someone ends up in that position, know that it wasn't because of a decision that y'all made. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Guy. Does anyone else have any further comments? I would like to come back up and speak. Brian, you want to speak again? Please come back up. Thank you. Oh,
Sure.
I turned it off. Sorry. Do we have any data from the county? I don't see them here today on foreclosures and stuff that have happened in the past or anything of that nature. I have never seen any of that information provided to us.
Oh, I don't have data on that specific number of foreclosures. We get an estimate of delinquent taxes, but it's a dollar amount. It's not per house, correct?
Per house or percentage or any of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
So does the county, would you know if they would have that information?
I'm sure they would, yes.
But also, please don't confuse that past is not to be prologue. As Pam mentioned, I think this is a very different year that we're going into with uncertainties,
Yes, ma'am.
but I will try to get that information for you.
Okay, and you have our emails. Okay, okay. Thank you, Mrs. Guy. I appreciate it. Thank you, Megan. Okay, thank you, Brian.
You know, it's not just about losing the home. As I mentioned a moment ago, it's about whether they can heat that home. I've got some family members here in Harris County who are seniors on very fixed income. And one of those came down to change the exemption on their tax bill. I made them aware that they qualified for a little more exemption. That exemption affected their tax bill by $20. $20. And they spent half a day down here getting it filled out because that $20 was worth that to them. It was that important in their budget. So don't underestimate how important every dollar is. And a 2 meal increase is a significant increase. It's an increase that you absolutely cannot mathematically justify using your own numbers. If you vote that in with $1 million surplus above what your own budget says, you have sent a resounding message to the citizens of Harris County. And whether they hear it up front or not, I promise you they will hear it. I will make sure they hear it, that you voted in $1 million surplus above the top number that you need, which I adamantly disagree with that top number. I will be your biggest advocate. I will be your partner. I will do everything in my power, albeit very tiny amount, to make sure that the citizens in this county partner with you to get what is needed for this school system to be a success. But you have got to partner with us. You have got to step out from behind that table, that bench, that tunnel vision that was mentioned earlier, and understand the absolute on the ground impact of what you're voting on. It is not just the school system. It is the citizens and the very detrimental impact that can have on a lot of them. Please don't just give us an opportunity to speak. Listen to us. We're not up here saying y'all are evil, that you have 666 tattooed on your forehead. Nobody believes that. None of us want your job. I mean, you don't get paid anything per hour for the amount of effort, headache, listening to people like me to justify, your income certainly is not, from the school board doesn't justify that level of effort. So I know you're dedicated. be dedicated to the citizens as well. Because that is what your statutory responsibility is. You're dedicated to be dedicated like you are to manage what's in best interest of the school district alongside what's in the best interest of your citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Pam, did you want to speak in? Please come back up. Thank you.
Um, you know, one of the biggest increases we face, like I said, is healthcare. And I didn't mention the proposed cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. And in doing some demographic research, a while back, did you know that 50% of the children in this county are on Medicaid? Okay. If there are cuts to that program, oh, where do you think their parents are going to take them for medical services? The emergency room. When people lose their health care, they go to the emergency room. And then that drives up the costs of everybody who has health care on top of the impending cuts. And healthcare is something we have to have, and kids gonna get sick. I often tell people, if you want to get a cold, go to a school. You know, you'll get sick some way. So I think it's incredibly important right now with these uncertain times to keep that in right at the forefront, making these decisions. People have to have utilities. They have to have health care. They have to feed their kids. There are a lot of things they're going to have to do without in order to do those. So please, please keep that in mind. And a very accepted rule of thumb in business, whether you're a small business or an international corporation, if the future is uncertain, if you're not sure what your sales are going to be, if you're not sure what inflation is going to be, if you're not sure what you're going to have to pay for your goods, you do not make capital investments at that time, period. And that's why you see the markets react to uncertain future. They don't like it at all. And this right now, what we're facing is totally uncertain. I don't care what any politician says. This is economics. This is numbers. And, you know, when you talk about the perks that kids need, a lot of folks in this county, that falls on deaf ears. I was educated here. Of course, that was a long time ago. But I played basketball in a gym that had no heat. I rode on a school bus that had no heat. There were holes in the floor. You went through a mud puddle, you better lift your feet up. We had reading over next to the wall so we could put our feet on the radiators at Mountain Hill. So when you talk to people my age about what the kids want and perks, you're speaking a language we don't understand. We never got new books. We had one field trip a year to a park in Columbus. That was it. There is nothing wrong with saying no. Nothing wrong. And if parents don't understand, just look at them and smile. I'm sorry. You know what you have to do at the store nowadays, and this is what we're having to do. Now is the time to say no. If we do that, we'll have a brighter future. It won't be murky. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pam. Well, I do not have anyone else that has signed up on our list to speak this morning. Is there anyone else that has not signed up that would like to speak? Please come up. Sally, you doing all right this morning?
Hey, my name is Sally Ann Mount, and I live at 9325 Georgia Highway 219. And that is near Mountain Hill School where all my kids and grandkids have gone. I'm very proud of that. And I also live at 1349 Quail Hollow Drive, which was my parents' house. They're both deceased, but I do live over there part-time, and they paid their taxes, and we're proud to pay them too. And I'm proud to pay my taxes. And I want to say thank you for what you do here at this school. We have a fabulous county and a fabulous school, and I'm proud of what we offer our children in this school. If it were for not things that our students have been allowed to do and participate in, we would not be creating the culture in this county for our students to grow and to go out and lead this county. Yeah, they lead the county. They're not good paying jobs, but they're finding jobs around the county. We have a robotics program that people don't understand. Our kids just went and won the nationals at the shotgun team. Come on. Pam Avery taught my kids dancing, and she was allowed to use Mountain Hill School as a place for my kids to learn to dance. And that was part of their growth. And that's what we have to do, is be visionaries for our children. I'm going to die before my grandkids die, and I want a place for them to grow and a place for them to develop. Do I want to pay these taxes? Absolutely not. Do I feel for people who have issues with their monies and things? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. My heart goes out to them, but we've got to continue to do it. And we also have to bond with our county commissioners more. We keep saying, we need industry. We need industry. You're not the industrial department. You're not supposed to be bringing industry, but how can we bring industry to this county when we don't even have a sewer system? I mean, that's where the millions of dollars are going, pumping crap out of here. So, you know, let's think about all these things. We got to partner together to make this county. And my challenge to y'all on the school board, and this is from the very bottom of my heart, is we need to land on the moon. I challenge you to be visionaries. We're not going to be here that much longer. You got to have a bright vision for our children, for our grandchildren, and for our great-grandchildren. Mr. Paul Dayhoff, if any of you know him in this room, when he lived here, he told us to go get involved in the school board, go get involved with the county. I couldn't. I worked full time, but I can now, and I want to be involved. But just be a visionary and think about our children. We're going to put a nuclear plant, David Adams, on the moon. I worked with him, so I know he's a money man, and he's a good money man. And he's the one who told me I couldn't buy a pen or a pencil when Georgia Powell got in deep doo-doo. So I can tell you right now how it is. And thank y'all again for what you do. And I love our children. I love all the sports, and the football game was fantastic. I could actually see the football field and the scoreboard. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Sally. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else that would like to speak that's not signed up? Well, I guess that ends our tax hearing at this time. I don't think anyone has any comments up here. I think we've had input from the community. And we appreciate everyone taking their time out of their day to be up here and give us your input. We do take that to heart. And it's like Brian says that, you know, this job is difficult, of course, to run for this seat. We know what comes with it, and it comes with a turf. So we understand that and take that to heart, and we do the very best we can. The decisions that people make, and I've been on this board for several years, and you can look back and see at that date and time, decisions that were made, you think that were probably relatively good and pertain to that time. And as time goes along, just as we do in life, we look back and kind of say, you know, I didn't make the right decision on that. I made the right decision on this. I don't know how that decision actually turned out. So we take all that into consideration on what we want to do and try to be visionaries. We don't have a crystal ball. You know, our nose is held to the ground by a lot of other agencies that are above us and are kind of servitude to them, which a lot of us wish we had more control over and more say so, but we don't. But I personally want to let y'all know that we do look at the budget. We do look at each line item. Each one of our principals comes in, and those who have attended, those who haven't, we look at every single line item from every single school. And they'll come to us and we look at it and it's like, okay, how many times we review it, Dr. Finney? I think it's like 3 separate times. So it's not like we just look at it and we do this and we rubber stamp it. But we do know that as being part of this community, when we make the decision, we want to be a unified body in what we do and present that and be a strong force for the community. And again, I appreciate every one of y'all being here, giving us that input. We will take every bit of information, all Mr. McKean's data and stuff. We appreciate that, which some of that did enlighten us to some things, which we appreciate and all. But there again, thank you for being here and letting us hear your thoughts and information. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to say?
It does not fall on deaf ears. I mean, we appreciate all the information that has been brought and comments and everything. So I mean, I can say it makes me appreciate it. It makes me to hear from our constituents. Don't think that we haven't thought of some of the same things that y'all have thought when we're going through this process. I mean, we throw out stuff all the time. What about this? What about that? And if it comes to a number that we feel like we got to have, then that's where it lands. I mean, we're not just throwing something against the wall to see if it sticks. But I will say thank y'all, everybody, for coming.
Well, if no one has any further comments, I guess at this time I would make a motion we adjourn this hearing. Mr. Green and Ms. Oliver. Again, all in favor, sorry. So thank you. We appreciate you all coming today. Y'all have a great day.